Is the founder and visionary of Yellow Parachute Academy and Yellow Parachute Learning Partners. So, Cara, I will let you share a little bit about why you got this program started.
Sure, I would love to. Thanks so much, Lauren, and great to see you this morning. Thanks for taking a break from working with the beautiful students at YPA. And so I had a vision on May 4th, 2019, that my kids just weren't getting what they needed in school. And it wasn't all of them, it was just my older two boys we're just going through some things as middle schooler and then late elementary school student. And I wanted to create an environment where there was more support for them individually. And then that was my first impetus is thinking, I'm doing so much to take care of other people's children. And yet I'm kind of leaving my own kids for that. I think a lot of times when we, as women in business, as humans in business, make sacrifices to really drive a vision forward, we can do that at the expense of our families. So that was kind of my call to action based on my family. And then just the other side of that, the flip side, was seeing my beautiful, amazing, talented high school students prepare for the ACT, and confess we're doing all of this to get ready for college, but we don't really know what we want to do in college. They gave the message like, so I'm building my resume, I'm going to get to college, and then what? So just seeing those two sides of like that late elementary, middle school need for, I find when I talk about this, I kind of hold my hands out, but for this, like the support and this mentorship and this guidance, we know that middle school is such a tender age. And then hearing my high schoolers say, I don't feel like I really know what I want to do. It made me think, gosh, if there was a place where we could help kids find who they are during the learning process, including how they learn best and what they need, then those decisions can come from them. And to me, that's a really exciting thing about being an educator, is to watch that student then make the decisions, take the learning and make the decisions for him or herself. So that's kind of the reason why we started. We use an online curriculum, and the choice is so that we as learning coaches can support the peripheral learning, as it's called, like everything outside the learning process. And we have certified Minnesota teachers teaching the students every day, and we really get to wrap our arms around the kids, so to speak. You can see my learner in the back. Really quickly, so Lauren, when we started YPA for the 1920 school year, I decided May 4th. We opened in September. It was fast and furious. So thankful for all of the people that rallied around us. We started with 5 students and we had an incredible year. We were able to serve the students seamlessly, even through that first quarantine round, through the stay-at-home orders with COVID. It was incredible. I just felt like we were so thankful to be able to be there for our students. Crazy time, lots of hard work, but the growth that we saw in our kids, by this time in 2020 made me say, we have something here, we have something. And then because of COVID, partly we grew, we kind of exploded in numbers this year, as you know, Lauren, to from 15 to 20 students at the school at any given time, with another component of drop-in coaching too as well. So that was a very quick growth, and that was wonderful, and lots of work as well. Growing pains are real. But we were able to serve families this year in that one-room schoolhouse setting, opening it up to the elementary kiddos, and we just saw that as such a necessary piece for this year. So And I'm so thankful to have been able to step back a little bit from the day to day because I have this incredible resource in Lauren Rice and the learning coaches that work with students daily at Yellow Parachute Academy. And so, Lauren, I'd love to turn it over to you to talk about this year, kind of what it's looked like, how it's gone. And then I think after that, we can circle back to maybe common questions that parents had when they were first thinking about YPA. So take it away with this year and the amazing things that we're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing what you were just sharing. It's so fun to hear the story and how everything got started. And I know I always share that with families too as they come in for tours, because it's nice to hear where things started and the growth that we've had in just a short year and a half or 2 years. So this year, yes, we're really lucky that things kind of just exploded with COVID, and most schools are seeing the opposite, where there's a decline in enrollment, and we saw a huge jump in enrollment. So this year, we've been fortunate enough to have several learning coaches or Minnesota licensed teachers that have been working with our students in very small groups. So what I've noticed a lot this year is we have kiddos grades first grade through ninth grade this year enrolled. And the biggest thing is the small group interaction that I get to witness and watch and get to partake in as well, which is awesome. So being able to work with one or two students on a specific subject, or to have a learning coach work specifically with one child on just what they need that day. And so the staff to student ratio is very small, which I think is one thing that really makes YPA unique, that you can't get in a regular classroom setting. So if you think about a class of 23, 26 kids, you might have a para in there or some extra support or small group support, but to have like 4 or 5 kids to one adult is pretty phenomenal. So that's what I've noticed this year and our kids have been able to experience. And also a lot of people think that our curriculum, because it's Minnesota Virtual Online Academy that we follow, they often think, oh my gosh, my kids are just on a computer all day. It's just like distance learning. However, it's not. You get to have that social experience in the one room schoolhouse. And in case anyone doesn't know, we're located in downtown Chaska, south of the Curling Center, the Chaska Curling Center. So you've probably driven by our house. It has a giant red mustache if you're in the area. But in that house, we're able to still spread out with COVID guidelines, follow the CDC guidelines, and support our kids in a healthy way. And it's not all online. We actually come to this building every day, and the kids get to work together and work with learning coaches and teachers, and also have hands-on materials. So they have the textbooks, they have the chapter books, they have the manipulatives, the paint for art, they have clay, they have all the things that you would need for science projects, all the different things that you would experience in a regular school setting, but in a smaller size, which is phenomenal, especially even if your kid isn't a struggling learner, but a kiddo that just to get that extra support, it's phenomenal the amount of gains kids have grown this year. If we've had some kiddos that came in below grade level and now are above or exceeding grade level, and to see that growth just because they had that smaller group setting and that support has been really great. So I know that's one of the questions a lot of families ask is, oh, is it all online then? Like, this is confusing to me because you come to a building, but it's online, but it's not really that. So there is an instructor that teaches them online, kind of like what your child did with distance learning, but you have a teacher right there next to you guiding you, and you have the hands-on manipulatives and materials to support you along the way. So next year, we're really excited to be offering 6th through 8th grade and 9th through 12th grade. So if you have a 6th through 12th grader and maybe this year was just really challenging for you, there's been a lot of transition. I mean, even for adults, going to work, not going to work. And if you have a kiddo where that was maybe really hard for you and you needed some more consistency, I'd highly encourage you to at least take a peek or come in and have a tour done, because what we've been able to do this year is not only the small group support, but fortunately we've been able to stay open most of the year and not have to shut down more than just 2 days. So we've been really fortunate to be able to have that consistency for kids and to have that social outlet and for them to be able to interact with each other like you would in a general public school setting, but at a smaller size. So Cara, do you have anything that you can think of as far as questions that parents frequently ask? I know the online question is a frequent question, or there's some other things that come to mind that parents often inquire about, and it's usually the same types of questions.
Yeah, definitely. I do have some thoughts there, and I'm just looking at my learner in the back. We had a schedule shift today, and so I'm so thankful that even though I'm not able to get her to YPA right now, she's able to do her work online. So there's that homeschool connection
Mhm.
because Minnesota Virtual Academy does such a good job of preparing lessons and assessments and videos all in one place.
Mhm.
I find that if learners need to miss school for any reason, the once parents and kids understand the system, it's really easy to use. And it's kind of like having that portal always at your fingertips for parents. There are going to be little delays in grading, of course, if kids are turning in larger writing assignments. But for the most part, it's that view of real time. And anybody, I mean, there are a bunch of really hilarious memes that are going on right now with parents. You know, I I just got an email from your teacher. I turned that in, like the mom gorilla and the baby gorilla. And like the whole joke is I turned it in. We can see if it's been turned in or not. And there's no, like, that debate doesn't
Mhm.
happen with us. If it does, it's really a snap of the fingers to kind of connect with the teacher. And so I'm very thankful that at least that is not one of the conversations that I've had with my elementary and middle schooler this year is I turned it in, but it's not there. And that's kind of just occurring to me right now as I'm saying this, how marvelous that is, because I know that's a big thing for parents. And so, but just with this flexibility that we have, if you have an athlete who is specializing in a sport, we have a dance family who the daughter has very intensive dance sessions throughout her school day, which makes regular school hard for her to attend. This is a really high quality educational resource, and it creates, I think, in the family dynamic, sustainability, stability, relationship, someone outside mom and dad to monitor that school day. And I think genuinely kids enjoy coming to school at YPA because they know they're going to get their work done and they're going to, they have purpose and they're going to get to see their friends. And then, you know what, this time of year, we do see them going home early because they're so in the system that they figure it out. So Lauren, you had asked about the common questions. So I want to circle back to those. I think the big thing is, what does school look like? And it's so hard for parents to conceptualize because we really only have one way to do school right now that we as adults have experienced. So I think maybe this year with COVID has helped us imagine or has forced us to imagine how different school can be. Wouldn't you say the best way is to find out is to take a tour?
Yeah, I
Um,
would say to come in and actually see the kids working so you can experience it and you can bring your child along with, or you can do one with your child or one just as adults, whatever works for you, to actually see what our online curriculum looks like and then to see our staff interacting with students and to see the space. I would say the space is really unique as well. It's a very charming house and it's very cozy. It doesn't feel like a school. So it's very a different feel. I also, one more thing I wanted to add as I was watching your kiddo working in the background is there's a lot of voice and choice too in their day. And I know like seeing what a day looks like is hard to conceptualize unless you come in and see really what it physically looks like, but they have a lot of voice and choice. So in a regular school setting, you have to do whatever your teacher says, right? You have to do snack at a certain time. You have to do English at a certain time. You have to do your specials. You have to do math. Recess is at this time. Lunch is at this time. It's very scheduled out. With us, that's not the case. The kids get a lot of voice and choice in what they're going to start with. The only thing that's pretty set is a lunchtime and our start and end day. So other than that, they get to work on what they want to do first. So we have some kids that really just don't love math. And so we start with that with their day. So they're done with it. They feel good about the rest of their day and they're ready to take on the rest of their classes. So not only do they get to pick their day, but they also get that one-on-one support or small support as well. But I'm
yeah,
sorry, I interrupted you, Cara. So that's kind of,
no,
I would say, come on in for a tour. That's the easiest way to do it. You can shoot me an email, Lauren@yellowparachute.com, and I'm happy to schedule a time, a 15-minute slot for you to come in and see our space and see what learning really actually looks like.
I love that you brought that up because voice and choice and the space, I think for our kids
Mhm.
are the biggest buy-ins. Like, I don't think there's been a kiddo, a student, a learner, wherever you are developmentally, who's come into the space and hasn't looked around and been like, I like this.
Mhm.
Even when I used to do ACT prep in that building,
Mhm.
my high school students would come in and kind of like relax. It's a
Mhm.
relaxing, cozy, supportive environment. And I think that is just so, it meets the students where they are. And the voice and choice, it's exactly what I was talking about with my high school students. They didn't know how to use their voices because they didn't know what choices they were supposed to make. But when we help our learners know who they are and what they need, then they figure out what they're good at, what they want to get better at, and that becomes their voice and choice. So they're making choices as learners, to
Mhm.
fulfill their purpose rather than kind of feeling like they're just bumping along in this thing called school. We want to get the most out of that experience. And I think the parent side of things, parents want to make sure, first and foremost, that their kids are safe, that their kids are seen, respected, cared for, and then likewise taught respect, and that the curriculum is good, that they're really going to learn. I'll be super honest. I didn't always understand what homeschooling was about. I believe in public education. And so my journey as an educator to embrace all forms and styles of learning, um, based on what a student needs, has been really exciting. And I understand that I may have a view into things that make it easier for me to accept a non-traditional way, than maybe parents who are used to the traditional school setting. And so I'm so glad to share whatever I know. And then, like you said, come to YPA to see it for yourself. So this is such a great time, from April to May, such a great time for families to come and visit and see and learn with us. So we'll be hosting more of these. I think this live is a great place for people to start and getting basic information. And we'll make sure we keep it up and people have access to it. And then also some front porch gatherings, maybe in the evening, to just chat and tour. Lauren, was there anything else that we wanted to make sure we covered today?
The only other thing I was going to add is when you were talking about voice and choice is our curriculum through MNVA. As an educator, and looking extensively into the curriculum, it is very rigorous, which is what I would say I really like about it, is because I was like, oh, this is an online curriculum. Like, are they really getting what they need? And after doing it for a year and seeing at all grade levels, kind of where it's at, it's very rigorous. And I'm very happy to see that it has been well researched and well thought out, and it meets the Minnesota state standards, and all of that is there. So I just wanted to add that little bit in there because I was skeptical at first too, and I needed to do my research, and now I've been proven wrong. So that's always a good thing. But
I
yes, we will
appreciate
be
that.
here most Wednesdays at 9 a.m. So we will create another event so you guys can join us next week live, and hopefully we can meet you in person and get some of your questions answered.
Yeah, we look forward to it. So, to be continued. Lauren, you have a great day.
Thank you.
And we
Bye,
look forward to
everyone.
seeing all of the families on a tour. Bye for now.